Ooh, might make your head blow off.
Hey yo, it's a talk show host, Kana Lassiter. Join me for an episode of Relations, the most lit hour of adult conversation.
Hold up, you know you can't forget about me. It's 51 Spade, Alpha Male God, one half of Relations. You wanna hear the truth? Can you handle the truth? It's where it's at, baby. It's where it's at, baby.
Welcome to an all-new episode of Relations. My name is Kana Lassiter.
Say it with me now. Alpha Male God, 51 Spade, a.k.a. the ninja you love to hate. I'm in the building.
You know how we do it. We give you 2 topics in 1 hour. The first topic is going to be, is masculinity, I would say is extreme masculinity, toxic? And why is it a man's responsibility to keep his partner entertained? Let's jump in. Is masculinity or extreme masculinity toxic? I would say, based on the status quo, the answer would be yes. Me personally, I think no. I think the more masculinity, the more a man is a leader, the more a man rules as a real king as he possibly can. I think that is healthy for not only the household, it's just healthy for the world in general, I think. But I'm also old school. I'm a little old fashioned. So I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with me that it's not toxic. There are some things about it, like I've been out and I've been a certain place and I've told my husband, hey, this is where we're going. And while we're there, my single friends are like, oh, we're going to the next spot. And I have to say, okay, just give me a minute. Let me check in. They're like, check in? You're out. Why do you have to tell him you're moving from one spot to another? So I catch a lot of flack for respecting my guy's extreme masculinity. And I think that's what people are looking at as toxic, as me being someone who is like super submissive and just letting my guy kind of direct me. So I think people look at it as toxic for sure. I don't.
Of course. Now, let's not say people, because we're going to keep this correctly. It's not people it's not even most people that think that. It's just women that think that being masculine is a toxic trait, or they even talk in the form of toxic masculinity, or any of these type of words that they use. And what's real crazy to me is, like, when we talk about toxic, we're going to use some things for example. So you're a woman. So you said you go get someone, you go get your dude, what, you checking in to go somewhere else?
Yeah, like if I told him, hey, we're going to dinner, and then from dinner they want to go have a drink at a bar. This is somewhere different. It's a different environment. I didn't say, but that wasn't the agreement. The agreement was dinner. Gotcha. So just let me check in first, or you might have to take me home. Like, I expect my homegirls to respect that.
So what would you say that is in reverse? So you say, let's say for instance, like you have now the man, and he goes from his homeboy spot to the club to somewhere else, saying he didn't call this and that, and then the woman says, well, why you didn't tell me you went to the club after you left your homeboy house? What is that?
Most people are going to say if a woman can't ask that it would be called a double standard. That's what most people would say. Me, I would say, it's not a woman's place to ask her man where she, like, it's just not. She's not leading. Mm-hmm. And if she falls back, he might just tell you that in conversation, not because he has to, but because he wants to share it with you.
So, but what is it called? What would a woman like?
She would say it's a double standard if she didn't get the same respect.
That's right.
Well, you don't call me when you switch places.
Gotcha.
That's the first thing they go to, but that's not our role. We are not equal, and we're gonna get beat up for that, but we're just not. We're not equal. You are supposed to lead. So since you're the leader, I have to check in with you so you can make sure security is under control. My queen is moving, so I need to put things in order. What am I going to do? What do I get out of you calling in and checking in with me?
I'm trying to figure out. That's the question. I'm trying to figure out, like,
other than you just want to share because that's what we're supposed to be there for. Support, backbone, a listening ear. So your man want to tell you how great of a night he had, not because he has to run down to you where the fuck he went. That's not a king. A king would not do that under any circumstances at all.
Now what would his homeboy say to him if he said that he had to check in with his
old girl, that he was a pussy, that he was beta as fuck?
Now, see the dilemma that I just painted. You know what I'm saying? Because as a man, I wanted to attack this from a different standpoint. Because when you brought it up, I thought about this for a second. I was like, you know what? What if I paint this from both sides? Because either way it go, the man can't win. If the man checks in with his lady, he becomes a bitch, a pussy ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? That just came right out of our mouth. You know what I'm saying? You know, he a bitch, you a pussy ass nigga.
It's true.
Now, if the woman is checking in with the man, the very first thing that pops up is negativity. Mm-hmm. Not that he's a protector, not that he's a leader, not that he's trying to prevent something from happening. It just comes off. And it comes off as he's controlling. Mm-hmm.
That's the word I was looking for.
You know, none of the things that come with positive because his old lady. And then the what's the bad part about it is, let's say for instance, if I'm the man and I don't want my woman to check in, the woman gonna say, "Well, he don't give a fuck about you anyway. He don't even give a fuck where you go." It's like a super.
It is. It's like a thin line like for every scenario that you're painting.
Yeah, it's like every which way the man go, he wrong. Like there's not a positive outcome in any scenario that I just painted. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But women have the nerve to say it's toxic masculinity. And above all, what do women say all the time? Talk to me. Say how you feel. Mm-hmm. Men don't ever say how they feel. Mm-hmm. Now he's saying how he feel, and you don't like what he's saying about how he feel. Mm-hmm. You know, hey, when you go somewhere, I want to make sure you're safe. You check in with me the whole nine. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Her girlfriend say,
toxic.
Girl, he trying to control you.
Yes.
So, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And I'm glad we're having the conversation, but no, but because every scenario you went, there was such a thin line where I'm like, what do we do about it? I think that the only thing that I can make an example of is, I think every man out there who is worthy of the title king should run he should have order in his home. Mm-hmm. And that's it. You know that your mom will just tell you something. That's just what the fuck it was. There wasn't a reason why. There wasn't this, you're not equal with me. Your parents would just tell you some shit. I hate to kind of relate a husband being a parent. But the same sort of respect should be there. There isn't you need to tell me where the fuck you moving to. Okay. There shouldn't be like, why? You don't do it. There should never be that. And because there's that's the reason why there's this dilemma in this conversation about it. Okay. If there wasn't a question about what your king is ordering you or telling you or asking you to do to be politically correct, if we weren't argumentative, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation, because women would be letting their men lead. Period.
Gotcha.
Just like we let parents parent.
Y'all ready for this? You know, Alpha always keep them in the bag. You know what I'm saying? It's like when we do this show, I have like a 6-shooter. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think you know this. Like, I have a 6-shooter that I just roll it out and I just start banging them out like little by little. Now watch this. You know what I'm saying? Because I just gave a scenario, and not that you're looking for a way out. Uh-huh. I'm just giving like different examples just to show people. Now, okay. You painted that scenario. Okay. Now I have another question. Why is it like that just for your relationship? It seems like a woman always has something to say about rules when it comes to a relationship. Nowhere else. They know how to abide rules from their parents. They know how to abide rules in school. They know how to abide rules at a job. They can mumble and tumble all underneath their breath. This fucking job, and then go
and they comply,
and then they go ahead and clock their motherfucking ass in. But for some reason, I don't hear you saying, this boss is real toxic. How dare this motherfucker have me come in at 6 in the morning? You know, it's raining out here. You know what I'm saying? I just had my hair done. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear any of that shit. You know what I'm saying? But the minute a man does some shit, this nigga's out of pocket. How dare he tell you what to do? You can go to another club if you want to. It's like, it falls at the man doorstep, especially in a relationship, and then all of a sudden everything is bad. Everything the man does is toxic, bad, the whole nine. And I don't ever hear no praises. Now, what will happen is you get into some shit or in trouble. You going to the next place.
Got a flat tire.
You got a flat tire. Now you want to call your man. Now all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? He's the guy that you need. He's the guy that you want to check in. Now, babe, you know what I'm saying? I need you to, y'all not equal no more. It's like all of a sudden, it's ready to comply time. Yeah. So the question to you that I'm asking is, I just gave a different scenario. Could it be that women just have too much ego when it comes to a relationship? Because things that they look at in everyday life that requires rules. You go into the army. There's rules there.
Any career.
You go to a career at a nurse, especially nowadays. Most nurses, they give these nurses 3-4 shifts and shit like that. They do not want to work at all. Got a shift. Got kids. Gonna bitch in the house, but not gonna bitch at the job. Gonna go to that motherfucking clock in. Might humble underneath your breath.
And the same thing you should do when you just don't agree with what the king says.
Facts.
You complain about it to your girlfriend on your way to doing what the fuck he told you to do.
Facts.
Period.
And when you ask the question on what should we do, that's what I'm saying. Now, it's not for everybody. I'm just saying, because you have women that say, well, I sleep better now, because I even watched this one. I sleep better now that I'm single. You know, I saw someone the other day just said, the wall ain't that bad. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to answer to anybody. She was like, I prepared. She was taking notes from Kevin saying, I'm prepared to go to death with my dog. So she was like, the wall not that bad. I can sleep peaceful. I don't have to answer to nobody. I don't have to do any of these things that ain't that bad. Now, did I believe her? No, absolutely not. I didn't believe her. Just nobody wants your ass. You know what I'm saying? Because I know for a fact that women like to be in a relationship. But but her ego, again, this is what I'm talking about. The ego prompts you to say and do shit that you know damn well makes sense, but you try to make it not make sense. Like you try to make it magical, like we in Lord of the Rings or some shit.
Not Lord of the Rings. Real shit. You and I guess we see eye to eye actually on the topic. And I think for this particular subject, it'll be us against them. You have to realize
I'm trying to find a solution.
There isn't one. There isn't one because this is simply obey. That's it.
So hold on.
That's it.
So what do you say to you? No, my question is this. You know what I'm saying? Because there's always a solution to something. So, but my thing is this.
I don't think there's a solution to this.
I understand, but we starting the conversation. So what I'm saying to you is this. You out and about. Mm-hmm. Hey, y'all, I got to check in. You say your homegirls say that. Do you say something to your homegirls of why this is happening? And what do they say?
A lot of times it's not even about something they said. It could be their body language. Mm-hmm. So a lot of things don't require me to respond to. So if your body language just changes or you walk away mumbling under your breath, you weren't woman enough to say out loud what you're thinking anyway. So that doesn't deserve a rebuttal from me at all.
Fuck that. We talking about the ones that verbally said, like you said, girl, you got to check in?
Yeah. And so I'll say what I said to you. Well, yeah. I mean, he need to know where I'm moving to. Anything can happen. That's easy to say. And people are, okay. I mean, but a single person really doesn't think like that because they are so used to moving on their own. But once I even say that, which is the easiest thing to go to, they're kind of like, okay. They still feel the way they feel, but they still can relate to, okay, you're right. We are out here and anything can happen. True. But it's been what, 2.5 hours? We're intoxicated, high. No one's
can
really
get raped.
Yeah, but also you're not also the voice of reason either. It takes someone to say, I mean, we are women out by ourselves. I need to let him know where we're going to, just in case we don't make it back home. And a person that's had a couple of drinks, it might even take them a minute to get that. But you would definitely have to say it. They're not going to think it.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm maxing. The real thing is like, and granted, I understand that you out and about, whatever this and that. So you in a club setting, I understand that. But there's still got to be a point in time when you with your homegirls and then you just casually talking now. Y'all just having girls talk. You know what I'm saying? And now this conversation comes up and like, you know what I'm saying, where the woman is just like, yeah, I wouldn't check in with no man. Like, this is
we have conversations about that stuff, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So my thing is, you outnumbered now. You know what I'm saying? You got one combative bitch. You know what I'm saying? One that know that she gonna hit the wall. You know, all these type of things. But you say to yourself, I don't know why you saying this, because you say you like being single, but you fucking with Derek and fucking with Henry over there, and you fucking with Claymore. And you know what I'm saying?
Claymore. Who is that? If your name is Claymore, write in. Follow me on all platforms right now.
All right, you'll get a follow from Claymore. You'll be shocked. But they having these things where it's like, I'm kind of in a relationship, I'm kind of not. Because like when the guy want to do something, then they'll flip on that switch, was like, oh, well, you know, I didn't want to do that. Then he do some shit he want to do. He don't call. He don't tell you where he went. And now all of a sudden it's like, well, this motherfucker didn't even call and tell me. But you just put up the argument of that you don't want to do that to him.
Yeah.
Now, you're not even in a relationship. You just dating a nigga. You just dating a man. And now it's like, oh, this motherfucker had the nerve to go out to the club, ain't tell me where he was going. All this shit. Like we in a relationship.
Yeah.
You got that type of energy for
line.
you got there ain't no fucking blurred lines.
It's always a blurred line.
No, it ain't. It's being idiotic. It's your ego. It's a lot of shit, but ain't no line blurred about what I'm talking about. This is just straight up facts.
It's a blurred line. It's a blurred line. But that's a whole nother topic. It's certainly a blurred line. Because you could be just fucking. Gotcha. And once the condom come off, it's like...
I understand that. I don't want to get into all that.
You know what I'm saying? It goes deeper.
But I don't want to get into all that. But what I'm saying is, this is the same person that had that same base about a male being toxic, about some of the things that you asking for him not to do. Then the woman turns around and do it to him. And then wonder why they get labeled as being masculine. That's what I'm talking about.
Or toxic, you mean? They get labeled as being toxic.
No, they get labeled as being a woman being masculine.
Oh, a woman being masculine. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. So, that's my question. So, this is why I'm saying, like, it's like an ego thing of you not really having all your marbles. Because some things are just simple for you to figure out, but it don't make sense for you when the man doing it, but then it makes sense for you when you doing it to him. But have the nerve to call the man toxic. Yeah. And most men that are masculine, they have rules. They have a set of rules. They have a set of rules for their household. They have a set of things that come with them. They not just running them up. Because when shit goes left, you also looking for the man to fix shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? When things go awry, then you say, I'm a damsel in distress. You the man. You need to fix this. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is, while he's trying to keep his house in order, you know what I'm saying? We got the Dance of the Dragons going on. We trying to, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep the Iron Throne in place. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to hold it together. You know what I'm saying? Without calling Kobe. And now I got ruckus in my house because someone trying to intervene on my queen, which supposed to be your so-called friends. But they don't get that. So my question to you is, they do that to the man, and they're not even in a relationship. But they have the nerve to call a man masculine. And a man toxic. Then in reverse, they become masculine, which they don't like being called. So if you don't like being called masculine, what in the fuck makes you think a man likes being called toxic for being masculine?
That's a good question. That is a good question. And to even mix the two, it just sucks that the word masculine and the word masculine, the word toxic to me don't belong in the same conversation. But it's because of what I was going to mention before. We are in a time where there's a movement for good reason. And we can't be 99% on this cause, like abortion, full throttle, things that we're full throttle about, and just saying it's okay for a man and a woman not to be seen as equal. It's kind of like, if we're going to fight one fight, we have to fight them all. I'm way on this side of the spectrum when it comes to women's rights and things like that. On the lower side of the spectrum, being submissive, I still believe in 100%. But right now, that's not the message. That's not the agenda. That's not what we're seeing. That's just not what's being sold. And the women right now that are raising our children are in the middle of this movement where they're saying we're equals. If you want to know where I'm going next, I want to know where the fuck you going next.
I just want y'all to, I'm gonna be honest now, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hated to have to go here, but I'm just gonna have to go here. I need y'all to just stop trying to make up shit. I watch for people who watch Big Jaw, he is a person who do like skits on YouTube. And every once in a while he'll do skits where it's like they're funny skits, but it's like they make up words, they'll do shit, and it's like, you know, people be looking, it's like, you know what I'm saying? What's the opposite of squeeze? Squoze. You see what I'm saying? And that's how I be feeling like when you talking to a woman, that's how that shit comes out. You know what I'm saying? It's like you asking shit that you know is logical. You know damn well it's not squoze. You know what I'm saying? You know motherfucking well the opposite of squeeze is not squoze. But you trying to convince me that it's called squoze. You understand what I'm saying? And to make it even more clear, like, this is what I'm saying when we talking about women and the things they do. A woman fat. No, she's not. She's thick. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna start giving examples. And I just didn't want to go here. But now I feel like I have to arrive here. I watched a guy the other day said, now we're dealing with human-made filters with the BBLs and shit like this. I watched a woman that get on, and I'm not saying that she was just totally out of pocket, but I wanted just to see her comments. We see I'm quite sure you've seen it. The guy going to the barbershop. He gets the white chalk. You know what I'm saying? That gets around, and the woman put the white chalk on around, and she was like, "Nah, this got to stop. Like, y'all men walking around here with this chalk outline on here, looking like this." And I was thinking to myself, but I just wanted to see for myself, and I just went in the comment section just to see. And the very first comment I saw was men saying, "Are you fucking kidding me? You talking about some chalk compared to the shit that we gotta deal with?"
Just like a lace front.
The red, thank you. That's the very first thing he said. Yeah, like that lace front looks any better. You know what I'm saying?
It's the same outline.
Yeah, the lace fronts, the fake eyelashes.
Eyelashes are out of control.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Women be having glasses on with the eyelashes touching the glasses. You understand what I'm saying?
Some people think they sunglasses.
Thank you. Like, this shit is like super out of control. The BBLs, they're having them looking like totally ridiculous. And you talking about the chalk outline of a man's hair?
His hairline.
Like, are we fucking serious right now? And this is the type of shit that I'm talking about. Women trying to make up shit as they go. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like that. If a woman, you can't say a woman is thick. She's fat. You just made this shit up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. She go to the doctor and goes, "Well, you're looking kind of thick today." That word is not coming out of his mouth. It's not. He gonna be like, "You need to lose some weight. You're a bit on the obese side."
Okay, but see, this is your...
Just say it.
So, thick, I believe, came from, we want to take the negativity away from bigger people out in public. You just...
Gotcha.
It was a word so that bigger women could feel empowered and feel good about how they looked in clothes and in fashion. So I mean, you had things like what come out years ago, Lane Bryant. Now you have God, there's another one now. I can't remember. I'll think of it later. I like to shout them out, but therefore thicker. I would definitely say if I'm trying to sell a product, if I'm trying to make people come shop and buy these clothes that I made to fit their bodies, I'm not going to say, hey, I make jeans for fat people. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah,
so that's how the word thick derived, and it's a positive thing. I don't want to, it's not a negative.
It arrived because of black people was something that we made up, and then you ain't going to check off the word. Go on a dating app, and I don't see the word thick nowhere.
What is wrong with you?
I'm just saying, I'm talking fact. We're not finna talking fiction like women do. We finna talking fucking fact. You go on a dating app and they ask you, you're gonna say, you know what I'm saying, are you skinny, masculine,
extra baggage,
big, you know what I'm saying, fluffy or big, big bone? You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to use the word thick, but you are big. When I go to, if my cousin or anybody that's over, like husky set, they go to the big and tall section. It ain't the fat section, but it's the big and tall section. You know why? Because men gotta eat that shit. You know what I'm saying? They ain't calling us fat either, but we ain't making up words. We know he big. He is big. And he's tall. You're big. You're not thick. Stop that shit, bro.
You can't.
Yes, I can, and I will. You know what I'm saying? And I'm tired of people making up shit. Now, I'm glad that you made this point. I'm actually glad that you brought that up, because that example is where I was trying to arrive. How to fix the problem. And the problem really is the same way that you're protecting women, that you're saying, hey, we don't want to call them fat, this and that. I feel like men that are masculine, that are leaders, not talking about bums, not talking about men you don't want to date, not talking about just has-been men. I'm talking about, why do men not need to be protected the same way? Being called toxic is the same as being called fat, if you feel that's a bad word. I'll wait.
I mean, I get it.
There we go.
I get it. I'm not mad at. I mean, I'm glad that you're expressing that. You know, being toxic hurts your feelings.
I'm not saying that.
That's what you're saying, though.
No, what I'm saying is you brought up the idea that the reason y'all use thick is because you're.
So, would you want us to use another word for the way people feel when they feel like certain way? Women right now ain't with you lead and I follow. Right now they want you. We have the woman king right now. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the agenda. I don't agree with it.
Who's watching that?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
that is the agenda, and you know what? It's an agenda for a good reason. We are having our rights.
No, it's not.
Stripped.
Our
rights are being. It is a good reason, because you cannot fight one cause and not fight the rest.
I got you, but it's not a good. It's not a good reason, and it's not a good cause, and I'm gonna tell you why. The reason why is because it blindsides and leads you down the wrong road, and because you start thinking like that's what it is. It's like someone saying to yourself, saying like, "Hey, you can do anything you want to do." We understand that. We understand you're supposed to tell kids that you can do anything you want to do, but you also have to have some fucking limits. You can't deliver the word you can do whatever you want to do without some fucking cautions in the sign. You can do whatever you want to, except jump off a roof and kill yourself. You can't fly. You got to put it in perspective of shit that is realistic, is what I'm saying. You can't just go around throwing around words and just saying, oh, they'll figure it out. They should understand that this meant this. You're leaving people to do whatever it is that they want to do. And how I know that don't work, where I live at, there's a 4-way cross with no lights. There's not stop signs and there's no lights. And they leave it amongst the people to make a decision on whether who should cross first in a 4-way cross. You know what happens every day?
An accident.
A fucking accident.
Because there's no order in the kingdom.
Thank you. That's what happens when you leave people to make their own decisions sometimes. And it is sometimes more than likely a catastrophe.
But what is realistic about a world where this applies when that happens, it doesn't apply when this happens? And that's what you're asking for. And I would love that. But the only way that works is if women know their role and accept their role as underneath and the backbone of a man, not the front, not the headstone. If we all agreed, when we could be at that kind of analogy, a 4-way stop, and women would stop and let the men go first and then tell them it's safe to cross. But that's not the world that we live in right now, for good reason. The world we live in is fucked up. We got the government telling us we can't get rid of our kids or get rid of a pregnancy. There too many things are happening for women to take that type of stance right now. They don't trust.
I'm not telling them to take a stance, but I'm telling them to use logic and not made up shit. That's what I'm saying. I don't have a problem with, if you don't believe in that, then that's cool. That's why you need to be single. But you can't believe in that and be like, you know what? I'm going to fuck up my whole life in my 20s, and then in my 40s, then I need to correct this shit. That's what I'm saying. You're getting the wrong information in your 20s to say, I am woman, hear me roar, all this type of shit. And then you say, well, goddamn, mom, you fucking lied to me. You made me think this could happen, and now I'm fucking 40 looking for a man and I'm out of gas.
Yeah, real
you
shit.
Didn't give him the whole. You didn't give him the whole handbook, is what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not against women thinking for themselves, men thinking for themselves, having some type of order, this and that. What I'm saying is, people start making up shit as it go, and no one corrects them. You with your homegirl, and then you elect to ignore the fact because you have a man, and you elect to say, well, that's her, and this and that, and then you let her go down this fucking rabbit hole. It's a friend, too. Now, I'm not talking about some regular schmegular motherfucker. I'm talking about this as a friend. And then this motherfucker hit the wall, and you like, well, shit, I got my husband. I don't know about you, girl, but you know what I'm saying? You didn't give no warning. You didn't give no nothing. You didn't give no information. You ignored it, this and that. Now, that's what I'm saying. To kind of get to a solution, it has to be at a situation, because we could have 5 guys in a room and each guy might lead his girl a different way. We might not all agree, but if his house is in order, we can't go against that. Women be having shit going on and you watch your girl wreck out. Like, that's what the problem I'm having. You watch her crash and burn from a distance. And that's your homegirl.
Because matters of relationships really, at the end of the day, come down to that specific person's morals and values. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, that's what you have to try to convince them of when you're trying to run how they run their relationship. Mm-hmm. Is to go against their value system, because they really, really just don't, in that moment, believe in what you do. They don't believe in the bringing the food and the drink, and they don't believe in the, calling and check in. They do not believe in that. So there's nothing that I'm going to be able to say after dinner in a 15-minute conversation that's going to keep them from wrecking the fuck out.
I get that. But just like a kid, you don't give up. Because women, a lot of time, are equal to children, and you just can't give up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying you're going to cure that with one 15-minute thing. But when they wreck out, or before they wreck out, I don't really hear, hey, you need to do this, or this is why this happened. And because a lot of times, even with my homeboys, so my homeboy call, boy, I got this girl at the job, boy, I don't know, 51. I'm thinking, look, brother, you're in a relationship, and you don't shit where you work. I have no problem delivering this shit before he crash and burn. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna crash and burn, but I'm giving him this shit crash and burn. And I'm also gonna give him that I told you so right after that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because that's another thing I noticed that women don't do either. Because he can't call me after the fact. Like, what the fuck? What? I get the call. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, she done leaked that shit, and I'm trying to get to the house. My girl tearing the shit down. You think I'm gonna lighten up on his ass? I told your motherfucking ass that this shit was gonna happen. I told you this was gonna happen before it happened. Mm-hmm. And you decided not to go that route. Mm-hmm. Now, this is what you dealing with now. Your house might be fucked up by time. I don't give him no sympathy or no shit like that because you calling me now in a ruckus. The time to listen to me was beforehand. Now, I understand people do crash and burn, but what I'm saying is I'm not going to lighten up on him. You know what I'm saying? To give him that excuse to do that. That way, when he says to me again, because we know most people are the same, another one pops up and they be like, dog, I don't know. Remember what happened last time? Remember that?
Well, I think the context of your conversation is a little bit different than the context of mine, letting your man lead and being submissive. Let me tell you when this comes back around, because my immediate rebuttal, I'm glad you gave me an example of a real conversation, because my real rebuttal in those moments, most of the time is, if you don't, another bitch will. That's what I'll say.
Well, you made it seem like you don't give no rebuttal, so that's why I was asking.
And I do, but not all the time. But that's my go. That would be my go-to, really.
Okay.
Before even the one I gave you before is I got to check in because of safety reasons.
Gotcha.
I've said that less than, hey, if you want, another witch will.
And I'm with that.
And I get her rebuttal is, well, but all right, but he gonna just do it, or it's nothing substantial enough to keep the conversation going. It's kind of like they just blow it off. So now, fast forward, the motherfucker done cheated. I will say that's not the time that I say, see, I told you if you didn't cook the clean and suck his dick. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck that.
Never. I don't think any woman would say that.
That's right, and that's why y'all fucking up. You need to let them have it. Keep that same energy. You know what I'm saying? Because that I would double down on that shit. Well, remember you didn't care when you said, well, let that other bitch do it.
But they aren't going to relate that. But they're not going to relate that to the reason he cheated, and that is because a woman won't take accountability for the shit she didn't do. She doesn't. She is not. If a motherfucker cheat in one, I doubt in one iota, she's like, damn, I haven't cooked for him in 30 days. Oh. Or that does not happen.
Oh shit.
That 100% does not happen. She's thinking about the reason why he did what he did, because he's a piece of shit. Why did you do it? But everything he did it because of him, not because of her. He cheated because of what he did, not because of what she did. So we very rarely take accountability for the reason why our man steps out. Sure. But my thing is, I have to actually paint scenarios for people. You don't clean up. Every time your man comes over, he got to ask you to pick up. One day, by accident, he's going to end up at someone else's house. And it's going to be spick and span. And he's going to end up over there again by accident. And it's going to be spick and span. And in that moment, he will compare the two. Like, damn, every time I go to homegirl house, I have to tell her I'm OCD and to pick up. And I done been to this girl house twice on accident and ain't shit out of place. Something that small will have your man thinking about the next bitch. Something that little. Because that's all it takes. Men like things that smell good and are clean, and his senses just open all up when he walk into this girl home. But you don't give a fuck.
And then she gonna give him that cow gone.
Exactly.
Take him away.
But that's the only way I think that would be like an aha moment for somebody. And even if I gave that scenario in that conversation and they had that aha moment, ego would just, I don't think it would land.
Leave it in the back seat.
I just don't think it would land. And that's just my opinion. You guys tell me what you think. Women out there, am I wrong? I mean, did it land? Did a light bulb go off for you, that aha moment? I don't think men cheat and then women say, I should have cooked, I should have cleaned, and I should have sucked more dick. So we're going to switch topics, and I'm expecting a response to that.
And hold on. And being masculine is not toxic.
It's not.
Being masculine is a masculine man myself.
King should rule.
I am a king. I am a leader. I'm not the cream of the crop leader. I do the best I can.
And let me say this, too. I'm going to add on to that. Imagine, and this got to be somebody worthy, but imagine someone giving him the Iron Throne and just complying. Just imagine the way he would look at you. Like, I have somebody who's strong, supportive, and obedient, and I don't want that to turn into a negative word, because if he's qualified to be a king, he's not going to take advantage of that. And I think that's what it really is we choose wrong. And so when we've chosen wrong for so long, so now you got this woman trying to convince you to give this nigga the key to my kingdom. Hell no, I can't give him the keys to my kingdom, because the last nigga I gave the keys to it fucked it up. That's your bad. But it is the only way to make the dance of the dragon really work. Is you gotta take a back seat, but to someone who is qualified.
My analogies, motherfucker.
Gotta be qualified.
Go on to come up with your own shit.
You gotta be qualified, and I think as long as we qualify that, and once we say, okay, he's qualified to be king, let him rule. Let the man rule. And I just think a lot of things would just fall in place. And remember, just not to ask why, just trust. And again, gotta be qualified to trust. I mean, I don't get on the back of everybody's motorcycle. The only person's motorcycle I rode on the back of was my dad, because he got me home every time. It just was something the way he took me on the back of his bike. I have not been on the back of a bike comfortably and free since my daddy, because I felt like I was protected. And so I think that's the feeling a woman would have to submit and be okay with it.
Again, to wrap it up, masculine is not toxic.
Masculine is not toxic. Let him rule. Let's go to the next topic. I'm going to make a correction. In the introduction of the second topic, I said, why do women feel the need to be entertained by men? Why is it a man's specific job to entertain her and keep her busy? I think it's just partners. I don't think it's subject to women or men. I think, why is it your partner's responsibility to keep you entertained? And I wanted to change it to that, to make it a better conversation between you and I.
Yeah, I'll turn it that way anyway.
I really feel like it is the responsibility of. And the reason why I feel like it's my partner's responsibility to keep me entertained, keep me going, is because I'm in my relationship 95% of my life. And I probably am off a little bit. I would say my relationship is 75%, and 25% is just some of my hobbies and things that I do on my own. But because he's 75% of my life, there isn't a room for a whole bunch of people for me to be traveling with and hanging out with. My life has limited space for actual individuals. So with that being said, it becomes my partner's responsibility to go on that trip with me, to go on that walk with me. Because outside of a relationship, there would be several people that I could call to go to the movies with. Outside of the relationship, there would be several people I can call to go out to dinner with. But because you came into my life, my spouse, and now those people aren't in place anymore for that thing, I think it is his job to step up and be those people too. You have to be the best friend. You have to be the girlfriend. You have to now stand in the place other people were. And that's also how you keep your household and your kingdom from being infiltrated. You select certain people that hang out with your queen, and then that's it. There aren't a lot of others. So you have to fill in the space where other people would have been if she wasn't the queen.
Every week I hear you blurt and babble about things that sound good, just like in the last one. And this is I'm arriving at the same place once again with women with delusion.
Why is it delusion?
I'm going to show you. You ask me this every week, and I prove to you every week that it's delusion. Now, you're not off base as far as your wants. And I think that's what we need to really make sense of what we're talking about. It's not the responsibility of the person. Now, you can have a want, but it's not the responsibility. And the reason why it's a lot of delusion is because, see how you was talking a few minutes ago? I'm going to show you something real quick, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? Want to hear it? Check it out. Watch me paint and watch me work. Every time I hear a woman say some shit like this, they start saying shit like, it's his responsibility to take you out. It's his responsibility to make you laugh. It's his responsibility to do all this type of shit. This is the delusion that women have with this happy wife, happy life bullshit that never works out for them, because it is delusion when they start saying shit like that. But a lot of them don't believe that. But you want to know what? I have proof in this shit. Because I've watched you, after doing this show with you for about 2 years now, probably 3. And I've heard you say, you know, before I got into a relationship with my dude, I was so lonely. I used to drive through the neighborhood and listen and smell pumpkin pie in the air as I was driving home sad, just in a ball of tears. My eyes were starting to water up, and I just saying to myself, please, God, bring me a man, someone that can save me, this and that. But you know what happens when they actually get a man? They start pumping their chests out like, if someone else won't do it, then someone else will. Like you had somebody to begin with to do the shit for you. Because you wouldn't have been driving home smelling in the air like you had some other options to go to. And this be the result of a lot of women. Not every woman, because some women, you know what I'm saying, do have options to fuck. But not options to do some of the things they really want to do. And this is where the shit gets foggy in their head. Because they start getting with assholes that fuck them, don't fuck them enough, treat them like shit. Then they get with a man and then don't appreciate the shit that the man do for them and want them to go overboard. Want them to go overboard. It's like the line is like right here.
Overboard though.
What you were just saying. It's like
It's
the
overboard to want to go on vacation?
No, I'm not saying that. You're not saying that. What I'm saying is the word that you're using saying is their responsibility. It's not a person's responsibility, because if that's the case, like that only works for women. It don't work for men. And that's why I said it's delusion. Day in and day out, we watch men say shit that they want. Say shit that they feel that they entitled to. Say shit that they want for themselves. And the woman looks at them like they're crazy. Looks them straight in their eyes like, what? I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm doing X, Y, Z, this and that. It's never some shit that the man really want to do. It's some shit she conjured up in her mind that she wanted to do, that it'll be fun for both of us. But I didn't ask for fun for both of us. I asked for fun for me. So shit that I want to do. But I gotta swallow my shit because you want to do some shit. And then I do swallow it and I don't get the shit in return. Because when the shit lands back on me, it's still some shit she wants to do that I did not ask for. And it doesn't work that way for a man. But it would be easy for me to say, well, it's your responsibility to go get me some extra pussy when you don't feel like fucking. It's your responsibility if you on your period that I need my dick sucked. I'm not saying women don't do it, but imagine me just saying that, going to bed at night. Hey, baby, I'm on my period. Well, you know it's your responsibility to give me some head. I know you're on your rag, but I need some of that throat. Your responsibility.
I mean, maybe the word responsibility was a bit much.
Oh, now we arriving somewhere else.
Not with this person. What I'm saying is...
Oh, okay. That's right. Take that bass out your voice.
I think once you become someone's partner, you need to fill in the gaps. Because being in a relationship, believe it or not, can be lonely too. It really, really can. You can be in a relationship and lonely as fuck. So don't get it twisted. Being in a relationship doesn't cure loneliness. You have to be in the relationship and you have to be engaged and involved. I could be in the house, depending on what we got going on now. My partner and I don't have a problem being around each other, but we're extremely busy. 8 hours of editing, jobs, things that we have going on. So we could probably be in the house together and him just be in the office for a week straight, just coming to bed. But if he comes to bed and I'm already asleep and I get up before him, and when he gets up, he eats and goes in the office, then I'm in the house with somebody and still can feel lonely. So just having a partner isn't going to do it. You have to make time to go for a walk. Like, there was this, when I knew we were doing this topic, I don't know why it came in my mind, but I thought about Jason's lyric. And it was, looked like they were like in somewhere where there was a pond and they had a picnic. I know I said vacation and take me this and travel and this, but sometimes it doesn't even cost you anything. It's just, hey man, we need time for you and I. Let's put the dog on a leash and let's go for a long walk. Like, I just thought about that moment when he washed her feet and they had a picnic basket. It didn't cost anything. It was just their time. And it was adventurous because I can't remember, it's been a long time, but one person invited the other one and the other one was impressed with what they were seeing. Mm. There was exposure there. There's adventure there. There's showing somebody something that they hadn't seen before. That's what your partner is for. When this topic is actually a topic that one of our listeners actually wanted us to do. And when he asked me about how I felt about it, I felt like it was triggering because I want to go to Alaska. And my partner doesn't want to go to Alaska. But I've always wanted to go to Alaska. And this is who I picked to be my husband. So And I am a submissive person. So once the king says, oh, that's somewhere I've never wanted to go. I am not going to Alaska. I don't know what you're going to do. You're going to have to find someone else to go to Alaska with. So when he said that, I took that to heart. He's not going to change his mind. I'm not going to Alaska with him. So if I go to Alaska, I'm going with somebody else. The thing is, I don't want to, Alaska isn't a 3-day trip. You got to get on a boat and you're going to be there 5 to 7. I don't want to be without my guy for that long. So I have to now decide that I probably will not ever go to Alaska unless I can convince him somehow. And so that's why the conversation was so triggering, because at that moment I realized, fuck, I'm not going to go to Alaska. And I think it's my guy's responsibility as my husband to take me to fucking Alaska. Maybe not next year, maybe not in 5 years, but before we die, it's on our bucket list and you have to take me because it's somewhere that I want to go. And I'm going to stand on that argument. And that's why this conversation was so important for me to have, because it's two people in a relationship. One person is outdoors person and the other one isn't. Getting married doesn't mean that one of them has to give up the outdoors. It just means they have to come out with a compromise that, hey, every other year it's going to be somewhere travel where we go hiking because I know you like outdoors. It's got to take compromise. And I think a good king would make sure that he made that compromise and that he made sure that his queen saw Alaska in a comfortable way for him, but he's going to make sure that it happens.
Welcome to a man's world. You know how many men every day I watch die from heart attacks and strokes and not living their life of what they want to do. They have a man cave just because they dreaming about the shit that they wanted to do that their wife won't let them do. You know why that is? Because the wife won't compromise. She's married now. She has what she wanted, which is the ring. I'm glad you find this shit funny, because I don't see nothing funny I'm saying. I ain't told one joke. Not one. Not one word am I saying that's joking. You laughing because you know this shit is true. I watch men day in and day out be in sexless marriages. I don't see no woman compromising saying, you know what, I'm married and he deserved, and it's my responsibility to make sure his nut sack is empty because it ain't on their frontal lobe. You know what's on their frontal lobe? Alaska. Shit that they want to do. You know what I'm saying? But this is my conversation for men. Men, keep doing what you're doing. And even so, make sure, and this is for everybody, make sure that if you want to go to Alaska, marry someone that want to go to Alaska.
You can't though.
Hold on. Because I know plenty of men that want to go to Utopia. But Utopia is a lot out of reach for them. You know what I'm saying? They want to plan a guys trip where it's just them and the guys and they go out and this and that. And guess who won't let them go? They fucking girlfriend or they fucking wife. You know why? Because there ain't no compromise. See, the shit sound good when it comes pain. And I'm glad you did it from a calm standpoint. Mm-hmm. I 100% get that. And you're entitled to the shit that you want to do. But the problem with that is there really doesn't be a compromise a lot of times in relationships a lot of times. And I could say for me, a lot of my no's basically come from a bunch of shit that my woman says to me that she won't do. When I need her to do something, she tells me no, and I just drop it in my bucket list. And then, you know what I'm saying? And you have a no actually coming your way. She doesn't think that it's like,
no.
You know what I'm saying? She don't think it's like that, but the thing that she need to understand is I'm a petty ass nigga. And I'm willing to live with that shit. I look at myself in the mirror every day. I see petty right there, and I'm cool with that shit. If you took a picture right there, I hold up the P, you know what I'm saying? Tilt the head and be like petty, and I'll be like right there. Because that shit isn't going to bother me. Because I want a submissive woman. I'm not saying that my woman ain't. But when we get into arguments where she feels so strongly about some shit and now she gets out of character. And it's really out of character to the point it makes me stonewall. And people that don't know what stonewall is, I just don't even respond to the motherfucker at all. You know what I'm saying? She just be talking and I'm stonewalling. You know what I'm saying? I completely check the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Because you decided to do that. But I shouldn't have to stonewall in my own relationship. Because that is some shit that I don't want to do. But who makes me do it is my person that I'm with. Now, are relationships perfect? No, they're not perfect. But they are give and take, and sometimes you can only take what the person give. Now, to go back to your other narrative, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm so sick of these Disney movie tales of oh my God, look at this and what they had on the movie. This is what's wrong with women right now. So watch this, just to show y'all something. How many relationships have you been in your life?
3.
Gotcha. But you fucked other guys, right? So
Yes.
you gave the pussy up for nothing. No relationship, no nothing. Gotcha. Now you're in a relationship. Correct. Right?
Yes.
Gotcha. Of those 3 relationships and the guys that you fucked, how many of them guys took you to a pond? I'll wait. How many of those guys washed your feet? I'll wait. How many of those guys did shit that you saw on that movie? Now we're going to jump out of your relationship. What woman came to you and said, you know, me and my guy took me to a pond and girl, he washed my feet. It was such a romantic thing. I mean, he draped the water across this. And I'm just saying. I mean, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's a guy. I mean, I could paint some shit like that too. You know what I'm saying? You know, I was watching this porn the other day and I was at the barber shop and this girl that was my barber got underneath, I don't even know what they call them, you know what I'm saying, that long handkerchief, you know what I'm saying, that they gave me. She was giving me head underneath there. And I just wanted to come home and tell you that, and I know you're going to be cool with it because you want the best for me, right? I want to go to Alaska. This is what I'm going to say. And for me,
so annoyed.
And for me, it's utopia.
That was like,
but
whatever.
Point being is this. There is give and takes in relationships.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that it's not. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there are a lot of things that men do that get overlooked a lot of times by females. And that's why I said when you give a woman an inch, they like to take a yard. I can have an amazing day with my woman. Amazing day. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? She good. We might have just had the great day. And now I got to go to work the next day. And you know what she want to do? Just like my dog, she wants to relive and play again. And I'm like, had an amazing day yesterday. I can't play today. I got to pat her on the head and shit like that and tell her to go to a cage. You know what I'm saying? Because really at the end, well, I'm just saying, like, really at the end of the day, I think what females start to do is they start to, like, really go into Disney World and then start saying shit like, well, we had an amazing day yesterday. How dare you have to go to work? We had an amazing day. Like, I'm not talking about no shit like there's going to be women like, oh, man, ain't like, I'm not talking about your guys that's playing video games. I ain't talking about y'all guys that's just sitting on the couch. I ain't talking about the bum niggas that just piping you down. I'm talking about the men that fucking actually have to work to keep the fucking house in order and get complained about because you don't want to walk a dog with me. You don't want to pour water on my foot from this pond. You don't want to do that type of shit instead of holding good conversations that I know a lot of times I have with my old lady when she's cooking, or just random conversation while we might be watching a movie or any of those things, and those things get taken for granted just because I'm a guy. And because I'm a guy, which a lot of women say, well, guys won't talk to me. Well, who I talk to is my old lady, which is a benefit for her because she knows things about me that other women don't do. But what do women bring back to the men? They bring used vagina and an attitude. You know what I'm saying?
Used vagina and an attitude.
Yeah. And then act like they're bringing solid gold to your motherfucking ass, and then want you to jump with the cow over the moon and say, pour water on my feet. You know what I'm saying? I just want to live like Jada in that movie. We can, you know what I'm saying? Not an entanglement.
Oh my God. I was just using that as an example of something not having to cost a lot of money because the complaint was, hey, I want you to take me to Alaska. I want you to take me on the girls trip that I would be going on as a single person. I'm not going to Cabo with the girls, but I want to go to Cabo with you. So I was painting things that cost a bit of change. So I wanted to change the narrative that it's not about really going anywhere that costs anything. It's about being on an adventure and exposing your partner to something they haven't seen before. How important is that? Because I use the analogy, hey, if you don't clean, someone else will. He's going to go and his senses are going to be overloaded at this clean woman's house that's got these candles lit and things like that. That is the same feeling that a woman gets from going somewhere she's never been before. Like, I'm like that. When I saw mountains for the first time, I was like at Disney World. But that's what exposing me to new things do to me. Why wouldn't your king want to see that, and why wouldn't he want to be responsible for that? Why would you take a shot in someone else exposing your queen to that feeling? You should want to be the only person in her presence when she's childlike and when she's exciting and when she's learning new things. You should want to be right there, and in order to be there, you might have to go places you might not want to go.
Well, I'm quite sure when you saw mountains, you wasn't in Alaska. And on top of that, I'm quite sure when you did that, since you didn't have a lot of relationship, that means that all the men that you fucked, all the men that you deep throated, all those men that you didn't make commit, now this man committed and did something for you, which I often say a lot of women take for granted. So while you was out here watching the mountaintops and he did that for you, and you like, look at these mountains. And what did I just say a few minutes ago, fellas? Was y'all just paying attention with me? We're gonna do it again. You give them an inch, they like to take a yard. Hey, these mountains ain't good enough for me. I want to go to, say it with me now, Alaska. But what does the man get? A bunch of attitude when he want to do some shit, or he wants you to do some shit. You get in a whole bunch of back talk, a whole bunch of I don't want to, a whole bunch of I'm not your child now. You get a whole bunch of that shit when it comes to that shit, and all of a sudden they not in a relationship. They are an individual that want to do what the fuck they want to do. So you know what I do with that? I'm an individual now that does what the fuck I want to do. And guess where I don't want to go? Alaska. And that's not where we going. Now we can go anywhere else. And if you want to go to Alaska, by all means. Ain't nothing, I don't see no cuffs. I ain't no sheriff, you know what I'm saying, or a deputy. You know what I'm saying? I might have shot the sheriff, but you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But I don't keep cuffs on my girl. So guess where she can go? To Alaska. If she chooses to. Now, there are things that I will compromise about. I do step out of my comfort zone every once in a while, a little bit, this and that. But just to show you, a lot of times the reason why these things happen to women is because they don't think about the shit that they did to the man to make him say, well, goddamn, I thought we was better than this. Apparently we not. And it makes it more easier for the man now to say no. That's what women don't think, because they think this shit don't come up. Now, it is different for different men. I'm just one of those men that keeping it old member decks. And it comes back around. So when it do come up, guess what I like to say? You know what I'm saying? What's my favorite word? No.
This has been an episode of Relations. You can follow me at Kana Lassiter on Twitter and IG. Do that, please.
Hey man, I had a tap in. So the tap in, just to move on, you know what I'm saying, to the next segue of the show. This is actually a tap in that I got. This was a fucking email that came in, and this was really an interesting take, because this was a take actually from a guy versus his friend based on what happened. And basically what went on was the guy had a issue with his baby mama's boyfriend coming to pick up his kid. And he was like, you don't show up to my house, you know what I'm saying, with the dude that you dating, you know what I'm saying, for my kid. And his friend said, well, why do you still have feelings for her? You shouldn't give a fuck like what she do. Y'all are no longer together. She's moved on. And he said, well, it's out of respect. He was like, but he was like, for one, and he said it was and his issue was, he was like, but that could just be a random guy. And he was like, how would you know it was a random guy? How would you know any of that? Because most of them don't disclose that anyway. And if they're around the child, she's probably been dating him a while. So I'm quite sure that dismissed that myth of him being a random guy.
Right.
So he wanted to know, was he wrong in this scenario that he's painting? Now, I'll let you have it if you want.
I think the friend was totally right by saying, hey, man, you out of pocket. I think I'm going to go out on a limb and give her some credit that it's not a random. met the kid before. And I think this is the beginning of leading up to a handshake. You know, hey, this is who I'm dating, so on and so forth. You know, if that guy that she's dating is a king, how you think he feel about her just hopping in the car talking about going to her baby daddy house to pick up her kids? He don't got to get out the car, but I believe it's his right to drive her to, you know, and stay in the vehicle until it's that time where they're meet. But it's certainly his right, and I think his responsibility to drive her over to another man's house to pick up her kids with somebody she's no longer with. Absolutely. I don't think he was out of pocket. I don't think she was out of pocket. I think the baby daddy needs to come to terms with feelings he's having about her being with somebody else.
Look at you. Got a little common sense when you want to use it. There you go.
A little bit.
Yeah. When I listen to this whole scenario, I'm sorry. I gotta agree with the friend. Like, why do you care?
Yeah.
Like, really, once, you know, I was with my child's mother, and when we broke up, I understand like it's still some feelings there. The one mistake that I did make, and I was young, is we were still having sex. But once that was out of the picture, once that was done, I was able to be clear and focus on just my children. I didn't give a fuck what went on with her. Now, I can speak from the aspect also is a man and me having a daughter. I do want to know the man that's around my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Because this isn't like, you know, you got child molesters and those type things going on. And sometimes women don't choose the you know what I'm saying, the correct man. So now he can be looking at your baby mom and looking at your child the same way. And now you're not there to protect. So I will say that I don't think it was that he cared about that. I think he sounded more like, you know, he was in protection mode because they were younger, and then I understand that part. That's the other fraction of this question. How old are they? Because for me, I tried to leave when I knew the relationship was over. I just kind of wanted my children to be older where they could talk and they could say, hey, someone touched me, something went wrong, something went left, or this and that. So I can understand that, and you are right. I can say from the other side, if you are a man that's dating the baby mama, you need to introduce yourself to kind of at least make the man feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? The handshake and eye contact goes a long way. So that's kind of a flip coin because I saw both sides. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know what standpoint, but I hope this helped because your friend is kind of right, but also I don't know if he didn't specify whether it was a male or a daughter. So that's why I kind of chimed in from the standpoint that if it's a daughter, he's probably protective of that and probably not necessarily the baby mama, but that wasn't really told. So I'm just saying
but if that's the issue, then the guy's presence at all is an issue, not the fact that he drove to the house with her to pick up the kids. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? If seeing him was like, oh, you got a man now, we need to talk. Mm-hmm. That's a man that's concerned about another man being around his kids. Not saying, oh, damn, you let another man drive you over my house to pick up my kids. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a whole nother issue. Now, he could say, I don't want another man to know where I stay at. Mm-hmm. But
he didn't say that.
I don't really get his angle with that either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said it was a tricky dynamic. So we can, if you did email me. I hope we kind of answered your question. If not, hey, feel free to DM me again, and we can kind of get deep because you kind of left it kind of vague for me, so I could only tackle it from the standpoint you gave. But I tried to give different scenarios just to clarify this up.
That's awesome. You guys keep tapping in. That's great. I'm sorry that forgot that we had the tap in portion of the show. That is when you write in to spadeperry@gmail.com or on the relations page.
No. She's wrong again. Just DM. Just DM the relations page.
I just said that though.
IG. Yeah, but you said email.
I said it after. I said email him at spadeperry@gmail.com or the relations.
Yeah, do not email me.
Well, that's all you had to say. But I said the second part. Let me finish. Put the camera back on me.
Just IG. Just DM or go to TikTok and DM.
All right, perfect. DM, guys. That's all we had to say. It's not the first part. Again, you can follow me on IG and Twitter at Kane Alaska.
This has been another beating. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever.
That's how. Hey. You know what I'm saying? We understand. You know what I'm saying? Attitudes
Just
come
end
out.
the show.
You know what I'm saying? Attitudes come out when they get beat. You know what I'm saying? Senseless. It happens to a lot of fighters. They get brain damage, CTE, all that shit come up. But glad y'all, you know what I'm saying? Glad y'all was chiming in. I want to thank everybody for joining us on the live. Hey, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. That way you do not miss these excellent episodes that we are dropping. And you want to follow us and like on YouTube because it helps the channel grow. Hey, you can follow me on IG and Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm always there. Pretty soon, guess what? We gonna be streaming on Twitch. So y'all keep your eye out on that. And if you looking for these nice shirts, because these are the special editions of Who Raised You Ninjas, because every time I go out, they like, where'd you get that shirt? So you can get these at Alpha Male God Creations, and you can get Who Raised You Ninjas all day, every day. Walk out, and they gonna stop you too. This has been another episode. You know I'm gonna sign us out like I always do.